And welcome back into Friday Take. As I am Devin Albertson, I am joined by Luke Sanders. It's time to talk some Bearcat sports. We're going to start with the men's basketball team as they took down Lindenwood last night over in St. Charles, Missouri, 67-60 after a strong defensive second half performance, outscoring the Lions 30-25 in the second half, en route to their fifth straight MIAA conference win. So every year I've been here at Northwest, Northwest has won an MIAA championship in basketball.
No leaving. Can't leave.
No leaving. So they also won my senior year of high school. This team has been, and every year I've been here, it's been outright. They have a chance to do an outright again with the game on Saturday at Lincoln University. But before we get to that, Northwest last night, led by Joey Wittes with 19 points. Justin Pitts had 18 points and 3 assists, also 4 rebounds. Xavier Kurth with 10 points. Brett Doherty with 10 points and 5 rebounds, even though he was in foul trouble most of the night, ended up the game with 4 fouls. Also, Tyler Doherty came in, chipped in 6 points for the Bearcats, 2 points each from Ryan Welty and Ryan Hawkins. But they both added some rebounds, 5 for Welty and 6 more for Hawkins. So Northwest, pretty balanced scoring at the top. Justin Pitts starting to get rounded into form coming into the end of the regular season, which is nice to see. I know we saw it last Saturday, even though they lost to Missouri Southern and snapped in the 49-game home winning streak, 73-70 to the Lions. Justin Pitts in the final 4.5 minutes looked like the old Justin there. He scored 13 points, so I think he's starting to get his feet underneath him a little bit and getting ready for this end of the season.
Yeah, he actually got to play 32 minutes the other night, so that's a good sign for them. He had 4 fouls too, though, so that's really weird because Justin Pitts never fouls.
Yeah, I don't know if I couldn't watch the game because it's on the MIAA network, and I'm just not paying that. So that's all I'm going to say about it, so I don't get in trouble.
Well, I'm not associated with anything, and that's ridiculously stupid. So.
Yeah, we can't say prices on air, so we can't say how much it costs. But
I don't know how much it costs, but
But for D2 games, it costs more than the Big Ten network. So
it costs more than the NBA League Pass for a night.
That's ridiculous. Okay, that's all we're going to say about that. But Joey Wittes did a nice job last night as well, 19 points, as he's been a pretty stable scorer with Endow out now for the Bearcats. He's going to be out for this road trip, and then we'll see what happens in the MIAA tournament, if he can play or not, with his, I believe it's his ankle injury. The team did celebrate last night after the game, saying they were able to get a win there and get the 5th straight, not 1, not 2, not 3, but they actually completed the whole 5 thing. We'll see if the 7, 8, 9 thing goes on, but the Bearcat men's basketball team is able to get their 5th straight conference title. Now 23-3 on the year, 15-3 in conference play, is they able to clinch at least a share of the MIAA title. Missouri Southern season ended on last night as well, as they beat Central Missouri in Warrensburg in overtime. So Missouri Southern ends their regular season at 15-4, which means the Bearcats need to win on Saturday to clinch the outright title. After an 82-80 win in overtime for the Lions over the Mules last night. Washburn did lose last night, so there will not be a tri-champ. Washburn lost on the road at Central Oklahoma, so Washburn falls to 13-5 in conference play and 19-8 overall. So Washburn, as well as Central Missouri and Central Oklahoma, those 3 teams are all in the bubble to make the regional right now, and they're kind of faltering here late in the season, while Northwest and Missouri Southern look like pretty much locks to get into the tournament right now. As Northwest, I think, is still the best team in the conference, but Missouri Southern right now is the hottest team in the conference and a really bad matchup for Northwest. As we've seen 3 of the last 4 times, Southern's beat them, and the other time Northwest had to have a nice 3-pointer by Snyder to win the game down in Kansas City for the MIAA title. So Southern's a tough matchup.
Yeah, and the thing about Southern is that they can lose to anyone on any given night. If Carr doesn't shoot well, because he takes a lot of bad shots and they go in, so they're not bad shots, but
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, so if he's not hitting those shots, I feel like they can lose to just about anybody, and that's why a tournament setup's going to be really hard for them, because Northwest has the consistency of Pitts and defense, and so if Pitts has an off night, we still have the defense to fall back on, and they don't really have that. So
you talk about Missouri Southern, kind of their ups and downs this year. I mean, they started the year 3 of their first 4 games against teams that right now are ranked in the regional, St. Cloud, Minnesota State, Mankato, and Northern State, were 3 of their first 4 games. They lost all 3 of those games, but they were all pretty close, so they can show they can contend with the big guys. And then they lose to, like, at Hayes, at Kearney. It's kind of a weird road trip out there anyways. They lose those couple of games. They go on later in the year. They start getting on a roll a little bit, and they lose to Oklahoma Wesleyan, who's an NAIA school, and then a week later to beat Northwest. And then 20 days later, they get blown out on the road by Northeastern State by 30. Like, that makes 0 sense. But there's a team that's up and down as the season goes, but they've been able to really catch fire after that Northeastern State loss. They won at Central Oklahoma and at Pitt State. Those are 2 good wins. Home versus Central Missouri, at Northwest versus Pitt, and at Central. So those are really good wins in the year. So there's a reason they've jumped into the top 6 in the regional on the last regional poll on Wednesday. So they're a really solid team there with Missouri Southern now as they're looking good. Northwest, though, just need to take care of business on Saturday and get that number 1 seed going into the tournament. If Northwest does get the number 1 seed, right now the 8-9 matchup would be Lincoln and Pitt State. So we kind of see how Northwest should match up pretty decent with both those teams, especially Pitt State. I know Pitt State is a solid team. They just don't match up well with Northwest this year. So decent matchup there for the Bearcats. And the 4-5 matchup would be Central Missouri and Central Oklahoma. So you get to avoid the Washburn and Southern until the championship game, which would be nice for Northwest.
Yeah, even if it's Washburn, I'm not too worried about it. I'm just glad that Southern made their way up to that 2-3 spot because I'd much rather play UCM in the second round than Southern.
Yeah, Southern is just the one team.
In our second game, it wouldn't be the second round.
Southern is the one team Northwest really doesn't want to see when it comes to tournament time because they're just one of those teams we said earlier that they make tough shots, and if you make tough shots against Northwest, you're going to beat them because Northwest plays and makes you take tough shots. So just a weird matchup for Northwest. Okay, for this women's standing thing, I've heard multiple things.
We're out.
Northwest is out. So even if they do win, Western loses. Northwest loses the tiebreaker to Missouri Western, I believe, because they beat Central Oklahoma earlier this year, who's 4th in the conference. Like, that's what the next tiebreaker procedure is, like head-to-head. Now, that what's your highest in-conference win?
Really?
I believe the second one is so.
It should probably just be overall record. That makes the most sense to me. But
that would also not be Northwest's favor.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying, why is it not just overall record?
I don't think people care about the overall record. It's just the conference, though. I don't know.
If you have the same record in conference, you beat each other each the same times. You're like, all right, one of these teams is over 500 and the other team is not.
Okay, so all ties resolved from the top of the standings down. 2 teams had the same ranking in the standings, regular season head-to-head. If teams play each other twice in the regular season and split their games, then the team's record versus the team occupying the highest position in the final regular season standings, or in place, tied for the highest position in the regular. Oh my God, this is confusing.
You're right.
Yeah, it's stupid. Like, this is the same conference that charges for. I'm not even gonna do it. Never mind. Sorry.
You can't talk about that.
Yeah, they charge too much for individual game day passes, so it's ridiculous. But Northwest, they're out, so struggle there, but still want to end the season strong when they play Lincoln. Get a win there. Try to get win number 5 in the year. So struggle. They did not play well versus Lindenwood, to say the least. 84-51 loss.
Lindenwood's a tough matchup too.
It was 44-14 at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
So just not a good game there. If you're Northwest, you had Tanya Meyer do better than 1 of 8 from the field with 2 rebounds, 3 total points. So just not good there. Jalen Haggard was leading scorer. She had 10 points on 12 shots. Malin McAndrews had 9 points on 7 shots. So that's your top couple of scorers there for Northwest. For Lindenwood, their top scorer, Gabby Walker, at 18, 15 from Lexi Moe, 14 from Bindler. So they were, and she also had 10 rebounds. So Northwest just did not play well versus Lindenwood. And you said it's a tough matchup for them.
Yeah.
Lindenwood's
tall guards. It's
yeah,
one of our biggest struggles. So
the season's gonna come to an end for Northwest. So that's final. So Central Missouri also wins the outright title in the MIAA by a couple of games. Looks like right now over Pitt State. So that's what we have for Bearcat Athletics. Also, I guess before we go here, there's other sports happening this weekend. We were supposed to have home baseball games this weekend, but if you notice, the weather outside is really crappy, so they moved those games to Emporia. So baseball team will have a game tomorrow at 3 o'clock, Sunday at 1, and then Monday at 1 o'clock as well, all at Emporia State. So that's what they're doing. So they're trying to get their season underway, as they did in Nice Jump last weekend, taking 2 of 3 from Cameron University. Softball, they have looks like no games this weekend. Track is at MIAA Conference Championships, and looks like women's tennis on Sunday is in Springfield taking on Lewis University. So
I'm just saying, if you think I'm playing any sport outside right now, wrong.
yeah, you could slide into first base in this weather.
You could slide from
Literally.
first to second base
Literally,
in this weather.
you could just slide. It's great. So that's what's happening right now. That's why they moved those games. So yeah, we got a little bit of time before we actually have a home baseball game. Now it's gonna be, I believe, late March before we actually have a home baseball game now because of the schedule.
I'm sure they're not
early
mad about
March. It's March 9th would be the earliest game versus Northeastern State. So, and still an opportunity there if the weather's still bad. Northeastern's really warm this time of year. It's Oklahoma, so.
it. You're going to want to move that game to Oklahoma.
So that's what's going on right now. Yeah, so that's what we have this week in baseball. Of course, men and women basketball playing on Saturday at Lincoln. Women at 1:30, men at 3:30. So last time you see the teams play this year for the women at least, and the men trying to get a win, keep on to that number 1 seed in the regional. And I know there was, even I started to question a little bit if Northwest would keep the number 1 seed in the regional because of Northern State and how the numbers would work out. But the NCAA released the rankings. They released all the numbers behind the rankings as well. And Northwest is third in the region in winning percentage, but other than that, they're first in RPI. They are first in performance indicators, first in strength of schedule, and they have the head-to-head versus Northern State. So all those, I know Northern State has 5 more wins on the year, playing in 5 more games, but Northwest was able to have all the numbers back them up, plus the head-to-head to keep that 1 seed over Northern State. Now, if the season would have ended on Wednesday, Northwest would have taken on Central Missouri in the first round. So that's how the rankings worked. Also, I was really confused last week with the rankings. Came out Wednesday because Minnesota State Mankato went 0-2 last week, and they moved up a spot in the rankings.
Yes.
I think the logic behind it was they lost to Southwest Minnesota State, who just moved from 6 to 4, and Sioux Falls, who also has a pretty good record as well. So their strength of schedule got a big boost, even though they lost both games. I don't know. Still, I'm like, you went 0-2. You should. If you stay even, it's fine. But you probably shouldn't move up the rankings.
Did somebody in front of them lose, or?
I mean, Central Missouri went 0-2. Washburn went 1-1. They're both ahead of them.
Washburn looked bad though.
Yeah, Washburn lost to Emporia.
Yeah, that's how they moved up.
And they had to go to overtime versus Southwest Baptist.
Yeah.
And then they just lost to UCO.
So now it makes sense.
Now it makes sense. They just lost to UCO, so now they're.
Well, I mean, it made sense.
Even
if you lose to Emporia, come on.
I know, but it's a rivalry game. It's rivalry.
It's Emporia. They're really bad.
It happens, okay.
It's like losing to Rutgers. Okay, it's not that bad. It's like losing to Illinois.
Okay, there you go.
Somebody did that. Stupid Nebraska.
It's like Texas losing to Kansas. Oh, no, that's pretty bad, too. That's pretty low.
Stop.
But yeah, so that's what the rankings look like right now. Expect some changes. Of course, the Northern Sun tournament is going to keep going on this weekend as they started their first round of their tournament games on Wednesday, and I got to watch those games because they don't charge for theirs. So that's nice.
This is going to be the theme of the show, isn't it?
It might be. I'm just salty about it. And they always give the excuse, well, it costs money for production. Northern Sun's broadcasts also look really, really good. So I don't know about that scenario. But the games they have on Saturday for the men is Duluth versus Northern State, Minot State versus Minnesota State Mankato, Augustana versus Southwest Minnesota State, and Sioux Falls versus St. Cloud State. So, and this tournament is in the Pentagon, so Augie has a pretty good advantage playing at home pretty much for those tournaments. They get Southwest Minnesota State in the second round. So that could be a fun game. It's at 5:30 tonight. So first game is actually at noon today. So
does Augie have any chance of getting in?
If they win the tournament.
Like without that?
No, not a chance.
Okay.
They had a pretty down year this year. So old Jordan Spencer couldn't elevate him. He's the guy who's in your picture against Justin Pitts.
Yeah. He's gone, right?
No, he's still there.
Really?
This is last year, yeah. They went 16-13, 10-12 in conference this year.
You know that no one wants to see them in a conference tournament, though.
Oh no, not if you're playing in the Pentagon. And they're just one of those weird teams. They've struggled with consistency this year. Has been their big thing. I think for the first half of the year they win exactly. They have Friday, Saturday games. They went 1-1 every weekend until last weekend they went 0-2. they were doing the perfect job of win one, lose one. They win on Saturday. They win on Friday. You know they're going to lose on Saturday. So that's what Augustana did this year. The division winners in the Northern State won the North Division by 3 games, and Southwest Minnesota State won the South Division by a game. So that's what happened there, with Northern State winning the outright by 3 games as well over Southwest Minnesota State and St. Cloud. So that's the Northern Sun Conference. They're having their tournament. The GAC, Southern Nazarene, they're playing tonight instead of yesterday because of the weather. Affected Oklahoma a bit last night as well with the ice. They had to postpone some games until today, so they're playing some of their games Friday, Saturday. If they win tonight, they play, I think, Southeastern Oklahoma State. If they win that, they're going to win on Saturday because they're playing the equivalent to Missouri Western on Saturday. So Southwestern Oklahoma's, I believe, the worst team in the region in like every stat. So they're really bad. They're like 4-25.
All right.
So that's what Southern Nazarene is. So we'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to go to Louisville. Also some other NCAA stuff that just came out about 15, 20 minutes ago about other teams that are being linked to all the NCAA violations with shoe companies and everything and improper benefits. And there's some pretty big names in this report that just came out. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about some illegal things here on Friday Take. And welcome back into Friday Take. I'm Devin Albertson, joined by Luke Sanders. It's time to get everything with college athletics and the mess that it's in right now. Yahoo just released something this morning about players who are possibly involved in improper benefits and also the schools involved. Just going to talk about a little bit in the break. Some of the players listed, including Michigan State's Miles Bridges, Alabama's Colin Sexton, Duke's Wendell Carter. Other schools listed that have possibly violated NCAA rules. Just kind of throwing darts at the big blue blood board right now. Duke, North Carolina, Texas, Kentucky, Michigan State, USC, and Kansas are the schools listed right now. Other schools that have also had at least some payments exceeding $10,000 include former NC State point guard Dennis Smith Jr. had $73,000 in loans. Isaiah Whitehead at Seton Hall had over $37,000 at times, and Markelle Fultz received $10,000 from Washington. So those are some of the bigger payments they've found so far. Other teams before they've been listed: South Carolina, Louisville, Utah, Xavier, Wichita State, Clemson, Alabama. So just a lot of people linked to this story right now. Of course, everybody knows with Louisville. We'll get to that in a second. But this is the biggest story right now with Yahoo coming out with this stuff, leaking it slowly from the FBI.
Yeah, you just wonder how much of it is true, because it's all just speculation at this point. Like, the list says schools that may possibly have violated NCAA rules, so they obviously don't have a lot of evidence against all of those things. But then they have the numbers of some of the people, and that's probably a pretty accurate statement. But then you wonder how much the college actually knew about the players receiving the benefits. Like, the guy could have went to the agent and been like, hey, I need a loan, and then I'm going to sign with your agency. And, the coach never have known anything about it.
And see, I'd believe that almost a little more in football because of the mass amount of guys.
But what if they did it before they signed? Because this all talks about is before they signed with the teams.
That's fair. I just think basketball is a little bit of a closer, so it gives people to control pretty much, which is why I think they might not know the extent of it. They might just be like, hey, there's an agent involved, and they just okay, and just kind of turn their heads and look the other way, which I think that's definitely possible. Like, something shady is going on, but you look the other way, so you have plausible deniability later on.
Yeah, maybe. But also, here's my point. How many kids do your parents have?
Just me and my little sister.
How many things can you get away with that they don't know about?
Not a whole lot. My mom's really connected in the community.
Okay.
It's like a hawk.
Bad example. But you get the point.
Yeah, I get your point.
That kids get away with things.
A lot of kids can get away with a lot if their parents, yeah.
And your parents usually have less than 12 children. Not always,
that's
but
fair.
most of the time. And so, even though, yes, you're close, if I'm a kid and I do something that I know that's illegal, I'm not going to go tell Tom Izzo that I did that.
Yeah, I wouldn't tell Tom Izzo.
No, he's scary.
He's really scary. Yeah, so some of the other players who are indicted in a document that they've screenshotted and put on their website, some big names here. Brennan Hayward, as well as Diamond Stone, who played at Maryland there for a little bit. Fred Van Leet, Isaiah Whitehead.
Here's the
Kyle
real question.
Kuzma, Kyle Lowry, Kyle O'Quinn,
Oh my goodness.
Markel Fultz, New Orleans Noel, some other guys.
Kyle O'Quinn?
That's what it says.
Probably for that Mizzou game. They
Yeah.
probably paid him for that.
Yeah, $1,300.
Here's my question though: How did Isaiah Whitehead get 37,000? Markel Fultz get 10. Who's dishing out
Markel
this
Fultz
money?
had a bad agent. I don't know. So yeah, that's the biggest thing right there. On this document it says Whitehead 26,000. I know the other ones said 37, but that's maybe just the first payment, and then there's more coming after that. So
Also, here's my point: these guys are obviously worth that amount of money if agents and other people are willing to pay them that. So why not let them make some money? Especially since most of these kids come from situations where $26,000 to them is like
a lot to
a
me right now.
ridiculous amount of money.
A lot to me right now.
Well, yeah.
Be great.
And you probably come from better situations than a lot of these
That's
kids.
probably fair.
So $26,000 to them is like a whole new world to them.
Oh, okay. So Dennis Smith Jr. got $43,000 according to documents. Received a total of $73,000 in loans. Wow.
And also, if he really does pay those loans back, why is that illegal?
That's fair. Like, I don't get why loans, like the loan.
It's because they come from the agency. But like my point is that if that agent sees potential, it's just like a bank giving a loan to a person buying a mortgage. They see that you have the ability to pay them back over time, so they give you money.
You're gonna start up a business. They give you a loan to start the business up, and you're gonna pay it back later because you have a successful business.
Yes.
It's exactly what it is. Just he's a person instead of.
Yeah. So why is it illegal for him to get a loan because of his talent?
I don't know.
I understand why you say the colleges can't pay the people.
Like, I think the biggest reason the FBI is doing this right now is because of the tax fraud that's going on with it. Because you're paying people under the table large sums of money, and you're not paying taxes for it because you're paying them under the table.
Well, yeah, I get why the FBI is involved.
But
with
some
the
people are like,
agency.
why is the FBI? Because it's about taxes, and they don't want to be missing out on money.
I mean, that's like you just listed about 150,000, and this is only one agency's
yes.
thing.
And this is all under the table. Like, this is all the money that the government's not getting.
Like, this guy's going to jail for a long time.
Yeah, probably.
But my point with the NCAA is if these guys legally do it, why would you not let these guys pay them? Like, I understand why the NCAA is like, we're not going to pay all athletes because they really cannot, like, they probably could afford to do it a little, but it would hurt a lot of their profit. It makes sense as a business.
It would really hurt the non-scholarship sports that they don't make money. I mean, football makes money. Basketball might at your school. Kind of depends on what school you're at. Other than that, all the other sports are trying to break even as best they can.
Yeah. So like, the NCAA is like, we can't pay you, and I get that. But if somebody else is going to pay them, why is that illegal?
Yeah, I definitely understand that. I mean, I've been like, you know what, if you want to give them, and like some of the rules that are in the NCAA, like you can't put cream on a bagel, like that's extra benefits. Like, what is wrong with you, NCAA? Like, it's cream on a bagel. I don't know. Like, some of these guys talk about not being able to eat when they're in college. I don't understand that at all. It's like you should be able to feed your athletes. Like, I don't understand that part of it. It's like, you know what, you should be able to feed them, you should be able to house them and stuff like that. Like, that's normal stuff. Like, I'm not saying like every night they should have lobster, but at the same point, like they shouldn't go starving. Like, you gotta find that happy medium. And if a player wants to sell his autograph, he should be able to sell his autograph because that's his own likeness. I mean, that's my thing with it. Like, he wants to sell his autograph for $50,000 a pop. You know what? If someone's gonna pay it, that's free market, and let him do it.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense in our economy. It's like the only business in the world that limits how you sell your own brand.
And I think now,
like if you worked at Amazon and for some reason you were famous and you want to sell your likeness for $50,000, they have no say in whether you do that or not.
Exactly. But Michigan does.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just a weird thing with it. And they can sell your uniform in the team shop, but you don't get anything from that either. So, which usually players wouldn't get a whole lot anyways because the certain player jerseys don't sell that much unless you're a star player like Johnny Manziel was in college or Baker Mayfield. So there's only a certain amount of guys that would actually affect. But you know what? If they're worth that much to somebody paying an autograph, then why not let them say give it up for free? Then that person make money off the autograph.
And I also understand boosters, how that can get a little sketchy. But like
I'm gonna pay you
if you're not affiliated with the university,
yeah,
and you want to give a guy like hey, I can see this guy's really talented. I can see he's struggling in life right now. I want to give you like $1,000, and if you ever get back on your feet, you can pay me back. That's normal. Like people do that with non-athletes all the time.
Mm-hmm. I don't like. There's some things they get really technical with, and as we're gonna transition from the whole NCAA, we're gonna go to Louisville, and they had some. If you can't put cream on a bagel, what Louisville did was really illegal with the brothel on campus.
Yeah, I'm not as against the NCAA putting the violations down on this one.
Which I really like. I'm trying to toe the line here with this one at 9:30 in the morning.
This is a little early for this kind of talk.
It is. I never agree with the taking away championships or wins thing because you know what? I saw that game happen.
Well,
Louisville won.
Patino's already got it tattooed, so it doesn't
matter.
Exactly.
It lives forever. Unless the NCAA is going to order him to remove the tattoo, which would be awesome, by the way. If they actually try to do that, and Patino's like, no, I'm not. Like, I won that game.
And he doesn't even work for the he's not affiliated with the NCAA.
I like what was it Kevin Ware said. I don't know, this big ring on my finger still feels pretty good. So about winning the title. So Louisville, and like my thing is with it. I get that you want to punish the school somehow, but there was no after the players got there. There wasn't like there was an extra advantage given for that. They still had to perform on the court. It wasn't like an extra advantage was given on the field. Like, I get it. Like, in my opinion, wins losses were affected more by a school like North Carolina with their academic scandal, where players could stay eligible because they couldn't stay eligible otherwise, but had easy classes so they stay eligible. That affected the win losses more, in my opinion, than.
I don't know if I'd agree with that because I think 99% of schools, even at any level, there's an aspect of the athletes. Either they take easier classes or they're kind of scooted through a little, you know.
They took fake classes.
But other students were in the classes, so they technically weren't fake.
That's how they got out of it, but yeah. That's how they got out of any real violations.
But if you think that I'm like...
That was really smart for North Carolina,
if I'm in North Carolina and I'm like, hey, the whole entire basketball team's taking that class? Yeah, I'm going to sign up for that class.
Yeah, there was some smart students at North Carolina going, you know what, I want an easy 80 here to boost up my GPA, so I'm going to take Intro to World Geography or whatever class it was.
It was a full major that was basically fake.
Like African Studies or something like that.
I think it was like African Studies, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you wanted a free major, I guess there was just follow the basketball team around, and then you know which classes to take. But yeah, Louisville, I just don't like taking away the championship. Like, it's vacated now. No one has them. Like, I saw Louisville win the 2013 championship. So,
do you think? I think it's funny. I think the funniest part of that is that the NCAA acts like they're putting this strict violation down, and you know none of them care.
Like all the Louisville people, or
anybody in the university, anybody at Louisville that won, they're like, I won.
I mean, the biggest thing is to take money from. That's what's really going to hurt the university.
Exactly. You think the university's like, all right, so we didn't win in 2013? You think that affects them? Who does that affect?
Takes the banner down. That's about it. Other things, they also vacated the Final Four appearances in 2012 and 2013. You know, that hurt the university hardcore there. Vacated the 123 wins between 2011-12 season, the 2014-15 season, and also $600,000 in tournament payouts. So that's probably the biggest thing right there is the money they took away from them. But that's about it. Everything else is like, well, you can take them away, but they were there.
Yeah.
So like,
I just don't see how it's a punishment to anybody.
Like even I listened to Jeff Schwartz the other day whenever he was on Outkick the show, Outkick the coverage, and he was talking about when he played at Oregon. Technically, their record right now that season, that 1 year was 10-0 now because their losses to USC and Oklahoma that year were vacated. He's like, they may have been vacated, but we were still 10-2 because USC whooped us. I mean, they beat the tar out of us. So like, we may be 10-0 in the record books, but like we went 10-2. It's like you vacating wins doesn't do anything. Like we know we lost. We know they won. It's like I don't know what. Like they didn't do anything. And if you want to argue like, hey, Trey Burke had a clean block in that game, Michigan should have won anyways. That's fine. But like this vacated win doesn't give Michigan a championship. Doesn't take it away from Louisville, in my opinion. So I think just a flashy thing about the NCAA that means absolutely nothing, as you said there. So
yeah, I don't get it. It doesn't punish anyone. It doesn't help anyone. It's one thing if like you're like, all right, Louisville's title is vacated, Michigan now gets the title. No, it's just gone. No one won. Like that's so stupid.
Instead of everybody's winners, there's no winners. I didn't.
All the soccer moms are really mad right now.
Yeah, it's just insane there. If we want a little bit of happy news here to sprinkle into this segment, Drexel last night overcame a 34-point deficit to beat Delaware, the longest in comeback in D1 history.
I don't know either of the teams you just named, so that
You don't know
doesn't
Drexel? They were good a couple years ago.
Okay, obviously I know of them, but
I mean, Joe Flacco went to Delaware for the football team at least.
he went to Delaware State, didn't he?
Delaware.
All right, fine. I don't care.
The Blue Hens.
Joe Flacco's terrible.
Helmets that look like Michigan's, but they're Delaware, so it's not as cool.
Makes sense.
Drexel trailed 53-19 with 2:36 to go in the first half.
Wow, how do you blow that? That's terrible.
And then Drexel came back and
That's
won.
not happy news. That's the saddest news to ever come out of Delaware.
I don't know. It's in that area, so who knows? The saddest news actually come out of Delaware. Let's see how many points. Drexel scored 66 points in the second half to win 85-83. Okay, never mind. They were down that point. They scored 66 points the rest of the way from that point on. For the final 22 and a half minutes, they scored 66 points.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Before you look at that up, you don't have the box score pulled up. Name one person on either team.
There was. Oh, I just saw this picture.
Yeah.
I'm gonna scroll down now. Isabel. There's an Isabel.
That's a girl's name.
That's his last name. I don't know. Let's tell you number 2.
You're literally just looking at the back of his jersey and reading.
Yeah, you forget about the star Ryan Daly for Delaware. I don't know what's wrong with you. Forgetting about that guy.
Who?
He had a jumper with 10 seconds left to tie the game.
Cool.
And then Isabel was fouled shooting a 3-pointer and made 2 free throws to win the game. That's how they finished the comeback at the free throw line. So.
All right. Next story.
Oh, I just want to say the previous largest comeback was 32 points in 1950 when Duke beat Tulane 74-72.
See, that's a story because somebody knows who Duke is.
Did they know him in 1950?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Probably. And also Kentucky's 31-point comeback against LSU in 1994 was the second largest.
And that might have been when Shaq was there.
That's impressive.
And everyone knows who Kentucky is.
And everyone knows who
that
Shaq
one
is.
should have stayed the record forever. People actually
it was never the record. It was always behind Duke's against Tulane.
No, it probably
Duke's always number 1.
31 points past Shaq is better than 32.
It's more impressive. It's not a better record.
It's more than 32.
It's not the record, but it's more impressive.
Doing it against Shaq actually adds 2 points.
At least.
Yeah. Because Duke did against Tulane.
Yeah, but Duke's always number 1. Just don't forget that.
Yeah. They pay their players. It's proven.
North Carolina's also listed, though. I know it's
not proven. Can't prove it.
Okay, now you sound like Kansas fans. For now. So, yeah, that's what's going on in there.
I really do think that if they got a list of all the agents, that every single school would be listed.
It's possible.
Every single major D1 school.
If you suspended each team that had these violations, your 2 seed would be Tennessee, Chattanooga for the tournament. That could be terrible.
Oh, yeah. You know that the allegations are so many that the penalties are going to be so limited.
Yeah, because you can't, how are we going to just say, we're vacating every win from 2010-11 to now. It's so college basketball didn't happen for a decade. Awesome.
And it's we're going to limit the scholarships of Michigan State, North Carolina, Duke, Kansas, Kentucky. No. We want to actually have a sport.
It's we're going to retroactively give Elon the championship in 2015. They were the only legal team. It's oh.
And with all the talk of this G League coming out and everything like that, I think the NCAA needs to tread really lightly on how they punish this.
You're forgetting about the JBA, the Junior Basketball Association, started by LeVar Ball.
I'm not forgetting about it. How many times have I told you not to mention his name on airtime?
Well, I watch his Facebook show just because it's always interesting to see what he does on there. And by the way, he watches Sports Nation just like you would think he would watch Sports Nation, eating it up the entire time as they're talking about himself. Oh, it's so good. It's so funny. It's LeVar, you're acting just like I think you would. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you realize that you watching his show contributes to his success, right?
You're welcome. I get to see Denise Garcia.
I don't know who that is, but it's not worth watching.
Lonzo's girlfriend.
It's not worth it.
I like seeing how dumb LaMelo is.
Yes, but all you're doing is adding to his brand by watching him.
I understand that, but I can't help myself. I don't watch the Kardashians. This is my way to this is my way to break down society.
They are literally the Kardashians of basketball.
But Lonzo actually has talent.
There's some talent there. Kardashians.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, LaMelo in one episode said that he said that Michigan was in Detroit. And he was, like, dead serious. Like, he's like, all I know is that Michigan is in Detroit.
That sounds like a kid that doesn't need any more high school education.
Oh, then another episode, they're talking about him getting his tutor. And he's like, I'm good at math. 10 plus 10 equals 21. And he's like, wait, that's not right. The kid's really dumb. Like, super dumb.
Well, I mean, nature or nurture, either way, it's 100% LeVar's fault. So
LeVar's fault. And I didn't see anything LiAngelo's done stupid in the last 3 months. Have you? I'm kidding. Of course,
no,
the China thing.
He stole all the evidence.
Oh, by the way, he is in a ski mask in the next episode, and LaMelo calls and you look like a thief. He's like, I've heard that before. So,
how can you even joke about that? Like, you should still be in Chinese prison.
Hey, Donald, help him out.
He should have left. He should have sent LeVar there, and left him all there.
It's like, we'll trade you LiAngelo for LeVar.
No,
leave LeVar in China.
You can keep LiAngelo, and we'll give you LeVar. And LaMelo. And Lonzo can be his own person. Except for Lonzo's looking a little sketchier and sketchier as it goes on.
Why?
He sold his own autograph for, like, I forget what the number was, but it was ridiculous. I'll look it up. I'll tell you.
He had to pay for his dad's Rolls Royce for Christmas. That's a pretty cool gift, though.
It is. But I think he made plenty of money this year.
That's probably fair.
To pay for it.
Well, you got to supplement the income. You just don't want to. It's good business.
I mean, people are going to pay it. It is good business.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but
Hey, Lonzo's back tonight. No, he's not. He's back next Wednesday, I think. I don't know what day is he coming back. I can't remember with him now. But also the Mavericks, they're kind of in some hot water with everything going on there.
yeah.
So I remember. See, Lonzo looks like he's going to return here soon. So hopefully, I like watching Lonzo play at least. I know his dad's crazy. His whole family's kind of insane. His mom's really sweet, though. She's still going through some rough stuff. That's part of the reason I watch it, too. Tina had a stroke, and she's still trying to rehab from it, so seeing her progress is kind of cool. It's the one, like, good, heartfelt thing.
Okay,
that's
really, like, cool.
That's the one heartfelt thing.
But this is so weird listening to you talk about your reality TV show that you're watching.
And LeVar's really good with her. Like, LeVar might be crazy, but he's still good keeping her, like, getting her along and stuff like that.
What is going on?
I'm just saying.
What's happening?
LeVar's not all bad.
I know, but you sound like some girl talking about keeping up with the Kardashians. You really do. Oh, my goodness. I cannot handle this right now.
I need to bring Dameron on. He watches the show, too. It's like a train wreck. You can't look away.
Devin's like, this show has some positives.
It does. It does.
And what's her name?
Denise.
And he talks about Denise like she's like his best friend. Denise is going through a really tough time right now, okay?
Okay, she might be pregnant, so.
Lonzo. Make moves. I also saw this thing that he might have dumped her, though.
It's also, we'll see.
If she's pregnant and he dumped her, that's
not a good look.
It's low.
But,
okay, I need you to stop talking about these people like they're your best friend, though.
I'm not talking about my best friend.
Where
does this come
What's the
across?
mom's name?
Tina.
You literally were like, Tina is going through a really rough time right now. Like, I was supposed to know who that was.
I said the mom, Tina. I said the mom before.
Okay, well, still.
I'm just saying. I did preface it.
Well, you still talk like you guys were on a first-name basis.
Hey. All right. She's a nice lady.
You don't know her. You only see what she allows to be filmed. That's not reality
what
TV.
LeVar allows to be filmed.
Reality TV is not... Oh, you're getting into some deep water there. I wouldn't tread there.
What, the whole stay in your lane thing?
Yeah.
I'm just saying because LeVar like controlled everything in that family, so... I don't know. Dallas is in some tough stuff right now with their business side, with the workplace environment not being great to women, being pretty awful actually. So
I was gonna say you're gonna want to rephrase that one too.
But apparently, from everything I've heard, that the actual like locker room where all the players were at was like the safe haven. So that's nice. That's the one good thing about the story. Like, if they wanted to get away from all the dirty stuff, they just go to the locker room, which is just.
Not normal?
Yeah, it's not what you would conventionally think, but it's kind of what happened. So, which is why I disagree with them. Some people coming out saying the Dallas Mavericks need to lose a draft pick and stuff like that. I'm like, well, really, the basketball side of it really wasn't the problem. it was the business side of the Dallas Mavericks that was the issue.
They
And Mark Cuban probably should have known something, but until they tie him to knowing something, I don't think you can actually do anything to him.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like you run a business, you should be aware, but at the same time with things like that, it's not like if the victims of those things don't come out to you and tell you, there's really no way for you to know because the person committing it is not going to tell you that this happened.
Yeah, my thing is like the guy who was committing all these sexual harassment stuff, he hired the HR guy. So is the HR guy going to go over the guy who hired his head to Mark Cuban to tell him all this stuff?
No, and he should. That should be part of his...
It should be part of his job, but it's also at the same point, like...
Yeah.
It's a difficult situation there for the HR dude, which is why he's hired for HR, so he should be able to do his job. But at the same point, like, he got fired for a reason because he didn't take it to Mark Cuban.
Yeah. And the HR guy, like, you got to think. Like, there's some things, like, little things that you're like, yeah, I don't want to take that up top because if it's, like, not going to get the guy above you fired, then it's probably not worth taking. But like, if you, like, sexual harassment charges...
A lot of them.
Yeah, that's like, and even one sexual harassment charge is enough to take to the top and be like, hey, this happened. And it's like, it's not like you're tattling. Like, your job's going to be safe when you tell that.
I mean, look at Toby from Office. That was his job.
Okay, it's a comedy TV show.
I know, just saying.
But, yeah, for real.
That's your job. Like, you have to do your job there.
Yeah. And if it doesn't come out that Mark Cuban either was told by the HR guy, which I'm assuming not, because after that guy got fired, he probably would have sued everyone if he would have actually reported it.
So I'm guessing since he didn't report it, and I don't think Cuban actually knew a whole lot going on there.
And Cuban's like paid so much money to get all this stuff looked into. He's doing all the right things now.
Yeah, so I think Cuban won't have to sell the team. Like, he won't have to do anything like that stuff like some people are crying out. Which a lot of this is, as soon as something bad happens, the first people to cry out the worst punishment.
Yeah.
I feel like they're the most righteous in the situation.
Yeah.
So that always would kind of happen. So until like level-headed people start coming in and it's like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. It's like
they have hired so many people to come in and investigate everything. So I think Cuban is gonna end up being like, because he's paid like literally top dollar private investigators and everything else. Like, you're not gonna bring those people in yourself and pay them top dollar if you are involved.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, this past couple of weeks in like Chiefs news in the off season is driving me insane. I just want to hit it real quick. It just really drives me crazy that people are just dumb in Chiefs media and just Chiefs Twitter and stuff like that. So we'll take a quick break. Be back with that next here on Friday Take. And we are back on Friday Take. Devin Albertson with Luke Sanders. As we're going to go into the Chiefs for a little bit here. I know it's in the off season, but when the off season happens, especially this time of year, some people have some interesting theories what the Chiefs should do in the off season. I'm going to start pretty much with the defensive side. So everybody knows the Chiefs defense last year wasn't very good. But for some reason, people think the best way to make the defense better is to cut Justin Houston and or trade Marcus Peters. Yeah, even just like saying that aloud just doesn't make any sense to me. To get rid of your best front seven player and your best corner probably isn't the best way to improve your defense. They're saying like, well, you could cut Justin Houston. I think it was after June 1st, and save like $15 million against the cap. And I'm like, yes. And what are you gonna do with that $15 million?
Pay $15 million for someone not as good as Justin Houston.
Yeah, so it's pretty much a lateral move. Getting rid of, and the people are like, he wasn't productive last year. He only had 9.5 sacks. I'm like, yes, recovering from an injury, and he was still getting pressure on the quarterback. Even if he wasn't getting sacks.
And he was in coverage 30% of the time.
And whose fault is that? Is that Justin Houston's fault, or is that Mr. Bob Sutton? I just don't believe. Like, he's also our best run stopper for the Chiefs. Like, teams run away from Justin Houston because they're like, hey, we could either run at Justin Houston or at the combination of D Ford, Tamba Hawley, or Frank Zombo. The choice is pretty obvious to me, which I would run to. It was an offense if I was smart.
Sorry, I'm sad. You said Bob Sutton. It's dropped me into a minor depression.
And everything was just Houston came in right after the Chiefs cut Derek Johnson, or the contract situation where he was allowed to be a free agent, and they weren't going to bring him back. Which I understand both sides. Where if Johnson wanted to come back, I see why, because he wanted to play his whole career with the Chiefs. The Chiefs want to get younger at linebacker, and you don't do that with a 35-year-old linebacker with two Achilles injuries.
And he was slow last year. You could see it on the field.
Father Time had caught up to him a little bit. So I hope he has a good year next year wherever he goes, as long as it's not in the AFC West.
I don't think it will be.
So
a lot of people are saying Indy.
Which would be good for him with Ballard, help that defense out a little bit, give them some leadership. So I hope he has a good year next year. I just don't think he was in the Chiefs' future. They like Ragland. They like some other linebackers. They're going to try to get younger at that position.
I think that's one of the positions that they're going to sign a big name at, too, with all the cap room they've created.
Yeah, definitely possible there. And I think Chiefs will end up cutting Tom Hawley to save money there because he's been Father Time hit him as well pretty hard. And he's going to be as of right now, he'd be the 5th highest paid player on the roster.
I think especially with that Twitter controversy and everything, they won't even really mess with restructuring. They're just kind of like.
And there's a former guy who worked at this radio station at KZLX. He now works at 103 Hot Jams down in Kansas City. And he interviewed Tom Hawley because Hawley also has that rap career that's going to go on after his football career. And I think what I got from Joe was that Tamba knew that his career was pretty much coming to an end now. Like, he sees the writing on the wall, so it's not like he's going to be – and he's been hurt the last, 3 years for the Chiefs anyways. So he knows that, and he's going to be paid – he's got a $1.7 million dead cap hit, but over $9 million of salary hit to keep him on the roster. So you can save $8 million, and you can actually do something with $8 million you don't have for Tamba Hawley instead of 15 for Houston. You can actually improve your team that way.
Yes.
And also another guy to look forward to is what they do with D Ford, if they think his hip's good enough, because they could cut him right now and save his entire $8.7 million salary. So it's interesting to see what they do with him.
I think he might restructure, and that's probably worth restructuring for them.
Yeah. The next guy, the number 13th paid guy on your roster, Marcus Peters, who's getting paid $3 million this year, has 2 years left on his deal, and for some reason Chiefs fans are like, we should trade him.
All right,
okay. It came out with Pro Football Focus saying the Chiefs are interested in trading Marcus Peters, and then Lockenforia, who's out of Baltimore, who hates Kansas City, also started churning the fire, and all of a sudden this becomes like an absolute rumor mill that people are buying into. It drives me crazy that people actually think this.
Here's the thing. From a football standpoint, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But when you watch the off-the-field antics, and I hate to even bring this up remotely again, but the national anthem stuff, and Kansas City was very adamant on. Kansas City's a very
Midwestern
conservative city as a whole, and the fans, especially of the Chiefs, are very conservative, and so Marcus Peters kneeling did definitely strike a little bit of. I don't know how to say this, but there's a little less Chiefs fans that respected the Chiefs because of Marcus Peters kneeling for the anthem.
And he had all the antics you said there with throwing the flag into the stands, and the year before doing some stuff too. So I see why some of that stuff, but at the same point, I get if he was an average player, if he was.
Well, the other thing is that for Marcus Peters, if you traded him right now, you should get a haul. And I think he's overrated as a corner. He really is. Yeah. Because
right now he's on his way to the Hall of Fame.
And he's always going to be like that, but he makes a lot of mistakes too. And he can't tackle anyone.
Doesn't have to tackle anybody. It's not his job.
I mean, if they're a receiver running a screen, that's kind of his job.
He strips the ball out.
He does. He either strips the ball out or misses a tackle and they go for
You know what? It's
6.
worth it in the long run because he makes the big plays.
But what I'm saying is that his career, as the more tape you get on Marcus Peters, the easier he is to go against. First of all, I'm running an out route underneath his receiver every time, and I'm pump faking it, and he jumps it because he doesn't even play man when we're playing man, which he's probably just trying to show Bob that we should play zone, honestly. But, I don't know. I'm totally opposed to trading Marcus Peters unless you get a ridiculous offer. And that's something you would have to think about because we have enough money to pay another corner. The corner market's pretty solid. You're not going to get another Marcus Peters caliber guy, but you could get 2 more solid cornerbacks.
And my thing with it is, yes, people are like, well, now they got 2 corners in, so he's more expendable. I'm like, not really, because the reason we brought those 2 corners in is because our corners last year, besides Peters, were awful.
Yeah, if you trade Peters, you got to replace a corner.
Exactly. So I just don't understand. I get why some people don't like Marcus, and he's a little bit out there with some of his personality. And some people don't know if he actually likes Kansas City or not, like if he wants to be here long term or not, and some of that stuff. But at the same time,
trade him next year. If that's why you're doing it, you trade him next year.
He's one of the best corners in the NFL. He creates turnovers at an insane rate, which in the NFL, creating turnovers wins you games.
Yes.
So
I think that a lot of those stuff is going to go downhill with his career, though, because he's a very talented guy, but he makes a lot of bonehead mistakes, and I think that you can easily take advantage of those if you watch enough film.
it's definitely possible with that. But the fact that people want to trade him, also the Giants, like their Arrowhead Pride version of them, like they came out with an article. What did they offer for Marcus Peters?
Oh,
it was Eli Apple and like a pick. Like, would the Giants do this? Well, yeah, the Giants would do that. The Chiefs wouldn't dare do that because Eli Apple's trash.
Eli Apple's not trash, but he's definitely, unless it was like the pick that they have at the beginning of the draft. And even then, I wouldn't even know if I would do it. Because you can probably get 2 first-round picks from Marcus Peters. He's at least top 10 corner in the NFL.
I'd probably put him top 5.
A 2-year deal worth $3 million.
Yeah, really affordable.
Yeah.
So the Eli Apple thing, I was like, yeah, it's corner for corner. Both are struggling with their franchise. I'm like, it's not the same.
Here's a worse one for you. This is what the Denver trade offer was that we would take: Emmanuel Sanders and a 2nd-round pick. No, not even a little bit.
No.
Like, first of all, no 1st-round pick.
Do we get a guarantee that Paxton Lynch is their starter this year?
Ooh, that actually could be worth it. We might take that one.
Oh, so yeah, I know there's a certain guy I follow on Twitter. He does a bunch of film review for the Chiefs, and after review, he did some review after he's seen all this stuff because he was kind of like me and he's kind of baffled people after going with this. And after running the numbers and stuff, he's like, he makes most quarterbacks into Paxton Lynch type quarterbacks when they throw his way.
Yeah.
Because he's just a really good corner. I just don't understand people's philosophy of, hey, let's make the defense better by getting rid of 2 of our top 3 best defensive players along with Eric. And then Eric Berry. I'm like, what's next? What's coming up this week? Like, we should, Eric Berry's had some injury issues. Maybe we should trade him for some value to get some good value for Eric Berry. Like, when does it stop with some of these? I get that we're in hot take season and it's February and football season's.
I think a lot of this is clickbait. I really do. Like, this guy said this because he wants to get clicks, and he knows that there are some Chiefs fans that don't like Marcus Peters because of his off-field stuff.
Yeah.
And I really do think that if he gets traded, it's entirely an off-the-field issue. Because on the field, he's a top 5 corner.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, you know that Andy Reid's in there like, hey, we got to keep this guy. Bob's in there like, get rid of him. We can play Phillip Gaines.
By the way, Phillip Gaines on this roster next year, I swear. What's his salary this year?
It's probably like nothing. If it's more than like $5, then we're getting ripped off.
I think he's a free agent. He's not on the roster right now. So
we'll probably re-sign him. Guys like that, I don't mind if you re-sign them. You just don't play them.
Long-term extension. That is what happens.
1-year minimum deal because he's smart. He knows the defense. If you have injury problems, you can stick him in there.
He might know the defense. He can't run it.
Well, I know, but
didn't help me at all. Where's he? I can't find him on this thing anywhere.
That's good.
Maybe we didn't pay him at all last year. He just came on as a volunteer.
That's probably what he's worth.
Yeah, I honestly do not see him. That's weird.
But
because he's on the end of the year on injury reserve. Yeah, he get paid less than $1 million last year. $800,000.
Yeah.
So that's played like it. So yeah, that's what happened last year.
You can go pay me $100,000 to get burned by every receiver I cover.
Works out well, doesn't it?
I can promise you one thing. If I'm in the situation where they threw it off his helmet to Antonio Brown, if I'm there, I'm at least getting a hand on it. So
at least batting it down.
I'm probably picking it and going for 6, but okay.
Okay. Let's
I'm probably picking it and falling down right there. But I would probably not have been that close either, so let's also be remote.
Let's be real here. So, yeah.
Actually, I don't know, because I would have given Antonio Brown like a 20-yard cushion. So that's about where I would have been at that point.
All right, so, yeah. So, I just want to mention the top 5 players actually on Chiefs roster: Justin Houston, Eric Fisher, Eric Berry, Travis Kelce, Tom Baholi.
Is that the ratings by – oh, that's by payment.
That's pay. It's the top salary cap.
We're going to want to pay Eric Fisher less. Good Lord.
He's getting paid almost $14 a year. Eric Berry
cut him.
His dead cap money's at $15 million. So if we cut him, we'd actually be using $2 more million.
Trade him.
He's not as bad as people think. He's not great. He's an average left tackle.
I'm not. Yeah, he's above average even. I'll give him that. He's actually rated like top 10 in Pro Football Focus, for real.
Chiefs fans just hate him because his first couple of years he was really bad.
Yeah.
And that stigma is really hard to get out of
But
your
I'm
mind.
just saying, he's not worth $14 million. That's what I'm saying right now.
You know what? He is if he's not guarding. If he's not trying to block James Harrison.
Yeah,
He's
don't
trying to
bring
block
that
James Harrison, he's like $5 million. Anybody else is usually decent. But if Holly and
holds a lot.
Ford are gone, then Allen Bailey will be the next highest player, followed by Mitchell Schwartz. So
Get rid of Allen. I mean, jeez. He's really good, though.
yeah, he's getting paid $8 million. So
How much dead space does he have?
dead cap $2 million. So
These guys are really lucky I'm not running the Chiefs. I'd be like, gone, gone, gone.
Ron Parker's a guy that could get cut. He's gonna get paid almost $7 million. His dead cap is $2 million. So he's probably he's on the borderline right there. He's on
Byron.
he might be gone. Tardif, MD, he's on there too.
I wouldn't cut him. He's a doctor. He can be the trainer and the player. He serves multiple purposes. We'll keep him.
Also, his cap hit's $5 million, but his dead money is $11 million. So
We're for sure keeping him. Math.
Mahomes
I don't care if we're paying him 30. We're keeping him.
is $3.7 million for his cap hit this year.
What's his dead cap? I bet it's high though.
7.5.
Yeah.
This is a rookie deal, so this is the way it is. So see how the Mahomes era starts and see how it goes next year. I'm ready for the draft, even though the Chiefs really don't have any draft picks. Earliest pick is pick 54, so they only have 5 draft picks right now.
Plus we'll have the Redskins. We don't know where that falls.
It's in this one, though. It's included in this thing.
Oh.
54.
Even though the trade hasn't happened yet.
I think so.
Interesting. It hasn't happened yet. It can't go through till March something.
I think they have it on here, though. This is spot track. It's like the salary cap.
That's all right. We suck in the first round anyways. I'd rather have third round picks.
So the 54, 78, 86, 118, and 182. Is our
We're
picks.
actually trading the Browns Marcus Peters for both of their first round picks. I'd be
I'd
okay,
with that. Because then you could get.
Actually, I don't know because you need some kind of player reimbursement at corner. So give us. Actually, you know what? We don't want your corner Browns.
What was the one thing that someone said? It was, hey, we should trade Marcus Peters to a team in the first round, then pick Josh Jackson out of Iowa. And I'm like,
Ooh. Although I don't want to get rid of Marcus Peters, I would love to have that kid on our team. He's really good.
does he have the NFL speed, though, to do it next level?
Yes.
Does he?
He's
sure?
Watch him play Ohio State. I know that their quarterback isn't great, but their receivers are fast.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I want to see what he runs at the combine before making decisions.
I think he's going to run in the 4.4, 4.5 area.
It's just the one thing I've read. A few people like his ball skills are out of this world, but they worry about.
Well,
his,
what did Peters run at the combine? I mean, it
But,
wasn't
yeah.
slow, but it wasn't fast. I don't think. We're probably going to look it up. It's going to be like 4.32, and I'm going to be like, oh, okay.
4.53.
Yeah.
So Eric Berry was 4.4.
I mean, for a corner, that's not fast. 4.53
Derek
is
Johnson was 4.52.
Exactly.
Derek Johnson's also one of the fastest linebackers I've ever seen.
I know, but like Marcus Peters for a corner isn't fast, but he's just got great ball skills. And I think that Josh Jackson, I know it's college, so it's really hard to gauge, but he definitely plays smarter than Marcus Peters does.
Yeah. So
And Iowa runs a lot of man, so we know he can do what we do.
well, that's all we do. Just run man.
I know.
That's it. Nothing else. So yeah. Weaknesses. They say is a 1 year. This is what NFL.com has for Josh Jackson. 1 year wonder, just 14 career starts. Early opener from press, needs more experience and more patience. Too easily influenced by release fakes up the line of scrimmage. Doesn't flash a big chase down burst when he gets behind on routes. Tighten up tackling. Questions being raised about his long speed. So
I bet.
that's what they have right now.
Do you have
for him.
Marcus Peters' draft report thing?
Well,
Like,
I'm guessing his thing was
I'm guessing
idiot out of UW.
I'm guessing it's about the same, though.
Draft projection. Let's go see if NFL.com has the same thing.
They also have us taking a linebacker out of Iowa, and which is weird because I hate Iowa. I'm not an Iowa fan, so
Okay, this is what the weaknesses for Peter. Suspended one game in 2014 by head coach for sideline tantrum, falling personal foul, or ultimately dismissed from the team. Lacks patience in press and will open up early. Grab you off the line of scrimmage, downfield when beaten. Mirror match long speed, average long speed. Overly emotional and prone to mental mistakes because of it. Slower than expected to squeeze routes. Doesn't take coaching. They pretty much nailed Marcus Peters and some of his weaknesses.
The on the field weaknesses sound pretty similar to Jackson's. Outside of the fake release thing that they said about Jackson, and Marcus Peters had a couple more that Jackson didn't have, but the speed, I think that one thing that they both do is go for ball fakes a little too much, but that happens when you have ball skills.
Yeah, I can get that.
And
Mine.
Then they're like, crap. The thing is, though,
the NFL comparison was a keep to lead for Peters.
Do they?
Because the source tells I wouldn't take him inside the first 2 rounds. He's good, but he's not that good. But willing to deal with his emotional issues, said an NFC personal director. The tape shows his capabilities. He can be really good if you can control him. He's on our board right now, but there's some long talks about him in meetings. I fought for him, said an NFC defensive back coach. So that's kind of what happens. Raw talent, but is far from a polished corner and character concerns. But Peters went to Kansas City, and then Bob Sutton coached him up real good.
Something like that, yeah.
So that's kind of what happens there. So I just wanted to kind of vent about that for a second, just to. So show should be over now. That should be it. We do have Kendall Fuller now. And also, the trade did go through because Kendall Fuller's on the roster right now for the Chiefs on this website.
Well,
it hadn't gone through, but it's like for this website it went through.
Okay.
Not the official website, but which his salary is nice at under $700,000 a year. Getting paid about the same money as Tyreek Hill. So
yep.
That's kind of what happened. Actually, right now, Akeem Hunt's getting paid more than Tyreek Hill. So awesome. Also, so is Orson Charles. Orson Charles getting paid more than Kareem Hunt, Tyreek Hill, and Kendall Fuller on the team.
Bye.
It's not worth cutting him.
I would cut him.
I would keep him over No Hands Harris.
I've seen Harris make clutch catches. I've seen Orson Charles have one chance to make a clutch catch, and it was doink.
I saw him make a big catch down the left sideline in a game. So
what game?
On a pretty pass from Alex Smith.
What game?
It was towards the end of the year.
When? Who?
It was a throwback to the left side. That's all I remember. It was a beautiful catch. Beautiful throw.
Okay. You don't remember anything about it. And it wasn't clutch.
It was beautiful.
If you can't remember the scenario in which it happened, it wasn't clutch.
1 second. Let me go back here. Just catch me off guard. I'm just trying to think back, okay? He didn't have a whole lot of catches. He has 2. 53 yards. That was a 35-yarder, though. I like Orson Charles. I like him more than Harris. It was against the Dolphins, by the way.
Harris catches the ball in the end zone and in clutch scenarios. That's worth a couple drops a year to me.
A couple drops? Yeah, he drops the ball every time he touches the ball, though.
But every time it's clutch, he catches it. He's the Dwayne Bowe of tight ends, okay?
He had a 35-yard catch versus the Dolphins, and an 18-yard catch versus the Chargers, both in wins. And then a drop versus Tennessee.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
I remember that one real good.
Pretty good pass by Smith, too, but we'll just get over that. What?
I didn't say it was a bad pass.
I'm just saying.
You're just throwing the ball to Orson Charles. That's stupid.
He was open.
It's still stupid.
He was wide open.
I'd rather throw the ball to Tyreek Hill double covered.
It was an easy pass for a first down, which is what Alex Smith likes to do.
I know, but
I'm just saying.
Why are you throwing the ball to Orson Charles?
He was open.
That's still questionable.
Tennessee would never see it coming.
It's literally like Andre Roberson shooting a 3. They're like, yeah, we're going to let you get open and see if you can catch it. And he did not.
Yeah, but he actually has a chance of catching it. Robertson doesn't have a chance to make a three-pointer.
No, it's about the same chances, about
No.
20%.
No, it's really not, though. That's not what the numbers say. It's about a 67% chance of catching it now for his career. If you look at it, 2 catches.
He's
on
only
3
got
targets.
He's only got 3 targets?
Well, before the playoffs, he had 2 targets, for both catches. So
How many
100%.
How many targets did he have in the playoffs?
1. This happens, okay?
Do you realize how stupid that sounds?
On
the biggest play of the playoffs,
wide open.
we target a guy we've targeted 2 times.
And he was wide open. He's got to make a catch. Still an NFL tight end.
Barely. Shouldn't be any more.
Well, he's better than Harris still.
Well, my argument's not that we should be throwing the ball to Harris in that scenario either, so.
That's fair. Harris also getting paid $2.3 million. His cap would be $200,000.
And Harris would have caught that one because it's in a clutch scenario.
I don't believe he would have.
And it wasn't right on his numbers. That's the only time he ever catches it.
Oh. So, yeah. Also, Daniel Sorensen's getting paid more than Patrick Mahomes. So, there's that. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting to see all the Chiefs' salary stuff there. Interesting things going on. So the Chiefs won't be active on the first day of the draft back all the way in late April. It'll be the 26th, the first round, I believe it is.
That's graduation weekend, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That's so sad.
I'm so excited.
But we won't get to watch most of it because I have to go graduate.
Bet. You think I'm not watching the draft? You're crazy.
Were you going to carry your phone across the stage?
Yes, I will.
You're like, I paid for this college experience. I can do what I want. This isn't high school anymore.
By the way, we have 64 days, 2 hours, 48 minutes, and 48 seconds before we graduate. I know I'm in the late session, so.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I'm in the 2 o'clock session, so I already have it. I have a countdown on my computer right now. So, 64 days.
All right.
So, that's pretty much where we're at right now. Make sure Bearcat basketball this weekend, 1:30, 3:30 at Lincoln. You want to watch them. If you want to keep up with the team. So, yeah, there's that. We're done for the show. We'll see you weekend sports kickoff 2 to 5 here on X106. And that's it for us. So, we'll see you later.
Adios.